Take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You made your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
Today, I want to embark on a journey towards reclaiming our wellness in a world that often seems stacked against us. A world brimming with toxins and entrenched in unhealthy habits. In today's episode, we'll delve deep into the transformative steps we can all take to detoxify our lives and embrace a healthier, more vibrant future. Every day, we find ourselves navigating an environment saturated with challenges. Processed foods laden with artificial additives, air and water pollution, and the relentless stress of modern life. These elements stealthily compromise our health, leaving us vulnerable to a host of chronic diseases and mental health struggles. But there is hope in the pursuit of wellness. It starts with awakening to the profound power we hold in making choices that align with health and vitality. Imagine a life where food becomes our medicine, where our plates are filled with rich organic produce that nourishes and revitalizes our bodies. Picture a day when we choose to walk or bike instead of driving, breathing in fresh air, appreciating nature, while simultaneously strengthening our hearts and lungs. In this episode, we will explore the incredible benefits of detoxifying our bodies and our environments. We'll talk to a leading consultant who will share actionable insights on reducing our exposure to harmful chemicals and adopting sustainable practices that will enhance our health and overall well-being. We'll also dive into the power of mindfulness and stress management, a crucial component of a toxin-free lifestyle. Learning to identify and mitigate stress through meditation, yoga, or simply spending time in nature can dramatically transform our well-being. Join us as we embark on this empowering path, learning not just to survive, but to thrive. Together, we can reclaim our health and craft a future that resonates with wellness and joy. Let's take this first step on a journey that promises to rejuvenate our bodies and minds, setting the stage for a life filled with health and happiness. Join us as we reclaim our wellness and transform our world. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit these to any of the hosts by visiting our website at nursesoutloud.com. We would love to hear from you. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. Joining me today is Kristina Morros, a seasoned nurse anesthetist who combines her frontline healthcare expertise with a passion for wellness. A paddleboarder, surfer, and yoga teacher, she champions movement as medicine and delivers no-nonsense, actionable health advice. She served as Manager of Education and Clinical Support for the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance, better known by their acronym FLCCC. In June of 2024, Kristina, along with her business partner, co-founded Facet 58 Consultants, LLC. She is a strategic business development and growth specialist, driving innovation, partnerships, and scalable success for business and nonprofits. Kristina, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Hey, Kimberly, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you on. We kind of recently reconnected. We hadn't talked in a little while, so I was really, really excited when you had reached out to me, and just really excited to hear about, what you've got going on and what you've been doing here these last couple of years. So you and I met, it's been about 3 years ago now. We met at Defeat the Mandates in LA. I think that was back in April of 2022. But if you want to just, I think that was right, April of 2022. But if you want to just kind of to start us off, maybe share with our listeners a little bit about what started your journey towards integrating wellness into your own life and to your practice, and kind of what thrust you into the medical freedom movement?
So, yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think my journey began years ago when I embarked on a yoga teacher training when I lived in the Netherlands. And through that journey, learned about how important it was to incorporate mindfulness and movement into a regular routine. For me, it's a daily routine. That's not what fits everyone. And then I've always been a healthy eater. I've always been someone who works out. My parents started me at an early age with personal training, so I learned how to move correctly with a trainer. And I've just I've always felt good by eating well. I am half Greek, so a Mediterranean diet is part of my daily existence. And I also incorporate fasting, intermittent fasting, and basically a high protein diet with fruits and vegetables, low carbs. So back in 2019, on the introduction of the world to COVID, is when the journey, the holistic journey for me kind of developed into a full-blown lifestyle, when I was watching basically this unknown disease or illness, or whatever we want to label it now, come into the world and start making people sick. At that time, I was working in the hospitals in the Netherlands, and just watching what was happening in the United States and how it was coming over into Europe. And through that journey, kind of began to work in the medical freedom movement, helping people find treatment modalities for the active COVID infection, treatment protocols, which involved repurposed drugs, sunlight, food, vitamins, minerals, just normal stuff. And through that journey, just kind of landed where I am now. My business partner Zara Sethna, and I have not only started Fast at 58, but we've also started a wellness company, and we launched it last week, January 22nd. And we have a Substack leading up to the release of our book. And the Substack is called Get Healthy or Get Dead.
Oh, I love that.
Because we basically want to empower consumers, patients, people searching for the truth, help guide them, help be a health advocate for them. It goes right along with being a nurse, as you know, since you also advocate for patients. And I believe right now is the time for this. I believe that, well, our Substack's actually already taking off. We already have more than 100 subscribers, and our posts are very well received and read and shared. But we realize that there is a need for this pure, untainted health information coming from people who aren't necessarily claiming to be quote unquote experts. You know, you have experts on the internet, whoever these people are. We don't know. We don't even know if they're bots or who these people are. But you also have certain medical professionals who claim their expertise, but they may not actually be giving you honest information. And it's important to question medical professionals and quote unquote wellness experts. You have to research everything like you would research medicine or an intervention. And I think that's kind of where we've landed now in our current business.
And I think a lot of people really they are fed up with the mainstream medical system, rightly so. It's a sick care system. We all know that. But we really have to be cautious. Just because somebody is saying all the things that, you know, they're against big pharma and they're about more, or they say they're about more natural living, you really have to do your due diligence and research people. And over supplementation is a problem as well, just as much as pharmaceuticals. And for example, you know, I don't like blanket recommendations for people, like, for example, like vitamin D, like, true, most people, most Americans are deficient in vitamin D. That is true. However, we really can't make these blanket recommendations for everybody. I actually know of somebody who was doing that, was just loading up on vitamin D because of everybody that was out there shouting that at the very beginning of, the early days of the pandemic. And I mean, and now he's battling vitamin D toxicity because his levels are off the chart. He doesn't have to ever take another dose of vitamin D in his life, and he'll be fine. But he's battling all of these, consequences from that. So I really don't like blanket recommendations. We really, really have to be careful with things like that. So I think what do you think are some of the misconceptions about wellness that you've encountered?
So that's a really great question. I think what you just summarized is a huge problem. People seem to be looking for quick fixes, something that doesn't require a lot of work or a lot of self-exploration. They don't actually put the time in to read and inform themselves on making decisions for themselves. And in fact, they don't even know what their basic labs are. And I think that, and of course, we know that healthcare can be expensive, but there are really great solutions, I think, that are affordable for most people. For instance, concierge medicine. Having a relationship with a concierge healthcare provider, whether that's a doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, and establishing a relationship and taking the responsibility to know what your labs, what your baseline levels are, to know whether you actually are in a state of health or not. That being said, labs should not govern your whole entire health profile. That is a way to monitor and track your progress. But honestly, we are our own control. We know what makes us feel good. We know what gives us energy, what makes us feel good, what choices we make, choosing the right foods. Hydration is super important. You can't load up with supplements if you aren't hydrated first. And what's the point in taking supplements if your diet is crap? I mean, there's so much misinformation on food. And I know that the current administration is trying to take a stance on that, but it goes deeper than that. Just going for a typical grocery shopping experience, getting your nutrition for your own household and for yourself, it's just like walking through a minefield of like traps. And if you don't read your nutrition labels and you don't prioritize fresh food first, how are you going to make your body healthy? And then it's important to prioritize those things first before adding supplementation. You don't know, like you were saying in your example for the patient with the vitamin D levels, it's really important to know what those are first. Maybe you need to, if you do have excessive vitamin D, maybe it's important to balance your diet with foods that might be lower in vitamin D. Maybe, I mean, actually, that's a pretty rare situation, I think, for people having extremely high vitamin D, except for prescribing. But, just basically modifying your lifestyle to help balance your nutrients, like just simply going outside or investing in a simple, inexpensive near infrared light. I have one of those. I use it twice a day. It is my favorite intervention that I use. But again, that's what I prefer for myself. I agree that we shouldn't make blanket recommendations. I do believe that good patient care is individualized, and you have to know the history of your patient first before you, or client first, before you can help advise them on what to do. And then, being that we are nurses, we can give someone recommendations, but then they need to take those recommendations themselves and take it to their managing healthcare provider and have that discussion with them.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we have to educate. It's all about education. Another example I like to use about like the blanket recommendations, when we were talking about, and the protocols came out for the take the ivermectin, take the quercetin, take the zinc, right? So all of these people were loading up on zinc, but what many people don't realize is that medication really isn't meant to be taken over a long period of time and like without ever stopping it, because zinc depletes our copper stores. And so a lot of times we had all of these people coming in thinking that they had long COVID, but what they may have really had was copper deficiency, because a lot of the symptoms of copper deficiency mimic those of long COVID. So the brain fog, the fatigue, all of those things. and unless you're eating a lot of organ meat, you're probably deficient in copper anyway. So to continuously take the zinc and just, it's like I just felt like we were just telling everybody, like, take all of these things, but you have to understand that the average person doesn't get it. They're like, oh, this is a good medicine, and they will keep on taking it for all of, eternity. And they don't understand that side effects, and there are consequences for taking even good supplements. So that's another one I like to use as a good example. But going back to processed foods, what are some ways that you feel like this impacts our health? And can you offer any tips for avoiding these dietary toxins? I mean, I always say just, whole foods and avoid processed foods entirely. But in the way the world is busy. People don't have the time. A lot of people complain that they don't or are not able to afford organic food. So there's a lot of little pitfalls and traps for people.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And yeah, some easy things to do. Like I said, reading nutrition labels. You don't want to necessarily consume a food that has a laundry list of ingredients. And a lot of those ingredients are just added chemicals or names for sugar, different names for sugar. And a lot of processed foods. Oh, this is my favorite thing. Low fat and low sugar foods. They are like, you're better off eating whole fat foods. And actually that's better for the body too, because what you're doing when you ingest things that have been modified is you are ingesting the chemicals, which makes them process that are not necessarily healthy for the body. And one of the other things I can recommend is going to your local farmer's market or your local farm or your local rancher and trying to establish a relationship with local business people and trying to get your foods locally. Not only is that great for a local relationship, but it also you want to eat things that are in season where you live and that are grown near where you live. You get more nutritional value out of those foods. And you also kind of want to eat what's in season. You don't necessarily want to, eat like peaches in the middle of the winter, for example. And I notice also that like the produce and the produce, the fruits and the vegetables in the supermarkets in general just don't have the same nutrient value as what you may grow yourself or buy from a local farm. And that's also actually, Kimberly, that's another great, inexpensive, actually free thing you can do is to grow your own food. You can actually grow a lot of things from food scraps, and it's fun. It's like an activity you can do if you're a parent with your children. You can teach them about how to create a garden in your backyard. You can go get seeds, like even the dollar store has seeds. Now, whether they're genetically modified and maybe have fertilizers in there, I don't know, but it's an affordable solution for people. But you just have to be more vigilant about what you're putting in your body. And those are just some simple things people can do. And cut out all the extra sugars, cut out extra alcohol, all the sweets. Like, I feel like that, especially in America, we're kind of addicted to sweet flavors. And most of those sugar-free foods are substituted with monk fruit or sugar alcohols, which there's a lot of conversation whether those are healthy or not. Now, this is my own personal opinion. I don't like any of those artificial sweeteners because they are overly sweet. I prefer just to have something that is naturally flavored. And I think I've kind of weaned myself off of sweet things by doing intermittent fasting, which is also another great way to get healthy. And it is a free intervention. It actually lowers your expenses on foods. Again, it's not a blanket statement that everyone should do it, especially women need to be careful about fasting with their hormonal cycles, but it is something that people can try. They should never try anything without consulting with their own healthcare provider. But I can tell you, also being a woman, that intermittent fasting has revolutionized my health and my fitness and my performance. I paddleboard and surf for fun, and they're my hobbies, and I race paddle boards, and I have become just this lean, mean machine from intermittent fasting. And one thing I noticed that a lot of people who also participate in my sports and people in general, they ingest a lot of protein bars, protein shakes, which are not bad in themselves. But again, those also have hidden sugars and hidden processed elements in them. You really, again, have to read the nutrition labels. And I've been doing some Instacarting for fun. So I've been having a blast, like doing grocery shopping for people and seeing what people consume. And it's kind of baffling to see how bad a typical family's nutritional food intake is on just in general. And it's always such a wonderful surprise when you do have those few clients that actually are buying, less processed foods and organic things. And I know at the grocery store that's so expensive, but it's refreshing to see those choices.
Right. And it can be expensive, but the bottom line though is that health is an investment, and we really have to learn how to prioritize, because you're either going to pay for it up front, or you're going to pay for it on the back end with disease and despair. So we have to make these types of intentional choices. And another thing that I find interesting is a lot of people really think that they are making better, healthier choices, like you were mentioning earlier with low fat or low sugar foods. And your average person doesn't understand that there's a lot of greenwashing in this industry, and everybody is making it seem like this is a healthier choice. But if you actually read the nutrition labels, you will really quickly realize that that is not a good and healthy choice, and it's certainly not a sustainable way of eating. So it's really, really important to keep those things in mind, and consult with wellness. I hate to say the word experts, but just people who know who know a little bit more than the average person about what they're eating, because there are a ton of misconceptions in this field.
Yeah, I don't even really like the term wellness, like a wellness expert or wellness coach. I feel like there's so much of that, and the wellness industry is almost, well, maybe as corrupt as the pharmaceutical industry. And actually, a lot of those people are linked together, and they're pushing, like, certain vitamin brands are linked to pharmaceutical companies, and there's people who are pushing these brands. There's a lot of nefarious things that go on out there. And
they're playing like the good cop, bad cop, type of a thing. And really, and people are kind of falling right into that trap, unfortunately. And people's health suffers, but the profits keep on coming in for big pharma and for the supplement industry.
For sure. It was funny because I was like just looking at, people love popcorn, those processed popcorns in the snack food aisle. And I was looking at one of them. I don't remember right now off the top of my head what the brand was, but they were produced by the Hershey Company. I mean, that's big, like fun. And it was supposed to be one of those healthy versions of popcorn that's like with less processed foods and less salt and less sugar. But I mean, that is greenwashing or health washing, what you were just referring to. I would like to say, I don't want to brand promote, but as far as organic products go, and if you have a Whole Foods near you, that 365 brand, their prices have become pretty competitive with like regular grocery store prices. And it's an option for people, to try, getting their food there if they don't have the option to go buy locally. I mean, I know they're owned by Amazon, but you have to find solutions in the chaos and the lesser of evils. And if you can afford a biologic product from a big chain, and after you read the ingredients and see that it's not gonna, it doesn't have a lot of bad stuff in it, it's a viable option for you, and until you get in a position where you can afford something better.
I think that's true. And the prices are kind of leveling out in a way, because it's not really that's like the prices of the good, healthier organic foods are not really going anywhere, but the prices of regular processed groceries are just so high right now. I mean, the other day, I try to only get organic, food and eggs these days, but I was in a pinch and I needed eggs. So I went to the store, just a regular grocery store, and it was like the generic, like store brand eggs, and it cost me like almost $10 for a dozen eggs. I was like, are you kidding? I was like, they're not even organic. So yeah,
We just wrote about the prices of eggs and why that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Though, speaking of eggs, because I saw $12 at my Publix, I was shocked. They were organic. Of course, I didn't buy those. That's a little pricey for me. But I went to, not to mention brands again, but I went to Whole Foods and got some 365 eggs. They were so delicious. Like there's definitely a taste difference and quality between just the ones you get at the regular grocery stores and just even that. But the best is to get it from your local farm, but they're just creamier. You can actually just taste the quality difference. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, for the quality that you're getting, the little bit of difference in price, and it really is very little. Like I said, everything else is so high now that so you're going to pay a little bit more, but for the quality you're getting, it is 100% worth it. Now, I don't have it. When I was in Texas, I was at Whole Foods probably every day. We don't have a Whole Foods now that I'm back in Tennessee, but they did just open one of the Sprouts Farmers Market, and I actually love that store.
Yeah.
So I'm over there all the time. Their produce is fantastic. Yeah, and they have like those little pre-made meals that they make and package up for you, that they're fresh. And if you're like me and don't have time to cook or don't want to cook a whole meal because it's just me, those are great options.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something to look into, because we're paying basically out our ass for everything. I mean, just everything.
You know what I love? I live in a little small town in North Florida. I love where I live, by the way. It's just paradise. But we have this cute little local farm that's like, I don't know, 10 minutes away from my house. I found them recently. And you can basically buy a bag, a surprise bag of local in-season produce, and they pick it for you. That's maybe the negative in the situation. But you get like a week's worth of produce in that bag. And they gave me a nice little insulated bag with a little zipper for the top. And the fun thing is you get these vegetables that are locally grown, and it kind of inspires you to make a meal. Like, just using what you have, you can, make a soup or roast some vegetables with, whatever meats you have. I also love um, buying from local ranchers. Like if you can just do a search for a local rancher near where you live and just go and meet them and buy meat from them, it tastes so much better than it tastes better than most of the meat in the store. It depends on which store you're going to or whether you're going to a butcher, but it's so great to be able to have local meats and local produce near where you live. And it's nice also building that sense of community, within your local area.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I love these different co-ops that we see kind of coming up everywhere, whether it be, buying meat or produce, and just again, like supporting one another in our own communities and relying less on the corporations, and just being able to be sustainable on our own without having to rely on these larger corporations who may or may not have nefarious intentions.
Yeah. And you know what else I also like are like local vitamin stores, like locally owned grocery stores, like health food stores, I guess is what I mean. The thing is, walking into, I'd say most of those places, you can pretty much feel good that the brands you're getting in those stores are high quality, because you don't necessarily want to get your supplements from places like CVS and Walgreens, because you don't really know how those supplements are being made, like if they're pure ingredients or what's in what makes up their capsules that the powders are going in. Even another thing I love is like full script when you are, established with a provider. I bet, do you offer full script with your
I
service?
do. Yes,
I
we
love
sure do.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. It is so easy and the prices are affordable, and you can just, you can basically store your health information in that and just have like auto shipping every month, and you save money. It's so great. I
It
cannot.
really is. It really is fantastic. Like, and we create whole plans for our clients, and
Yeah.
then they're able to just purchase right from that link and the auto ship. It's a great option. It makes things so much easier for our clients and for us in building our recommendations. And we pass on our practitioner discount to our clients so that they're able to save some money on those supplements as well. So
And just so the listeners know that being able to offer full script to patients, you can do that as a nurse, correct?
yes, correct.
Yeah, so that's great. So I want other nurses to know that they have these platforms at their disposal to help improve the care of their patients.
Right. And what we do at Remnant, and we do partner with the Functional Nurse Academy, Melissa Schreibfetter's organization. And
Yes.
we've partnered together, and we have an incredible bundle where we're creating opportunities for nurses We bring them in. When you know there's a better way, but they just don't understand because of the indoctrination and the education that we get in nursing school, that doesn't focus on nutrition, doesn't focus on wellness or any of those things. But we bring them in, and her program is truly incredible. It trains nurses and other healthcare workers in functional medicine to where you can actually get a board certification. So I'm now a board certified functional medicine practitioner.
I love that. And I love that she offers that. She's great, by the way. And so I'll mention this actually, that we're going to be releasing one of our blog posts this week talking about how to protect yourself when you go into the hospital. And actually in our article, we mentioned both Remnant Healthcare and the Functional Nurse Academy in it, because I think it's important that people realize that they don't have to be alone when they go into the hospital. There are fantastic nurses that are available to help support the experience. And then healthcare providers, nurses can empower themselves to learn more about things like functional medicine, to offer these educational tools to their patients so that they can help people get healthier and help deliver better quality of care. I can't stress how important having a nurse advocate and learning about functional medicine is in today's healthcare system.
Exactly. It's been really just a godsend. All of these different connections that we've made, and I've said from the very beginning. And I met Melissa very very early on in this. Like, I think I had just started Nurse Freedom Network. It wasn't 2 or 3 weeks old when Melissa and I met at a local event, because she's local here in Tennessee. And she joined me in the Nurse Freedom Network, and we worked together there. And then we have just been collaborating this entire time. And then we've partnered with Functional Nurse Academy. And now she's also a host here on Nurses Out Loud, which is absolutely amazing. Yes, yeah, she hosts. I can't remember what day. I'm lucky I remember my day is Wednesday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But she is another one of the hosts here on Nurses Out Loud. So it's just been really amazing to see how we've all connected, and the good work that we've been able to do throughout these last 4 years. So it's exciting. And thank you so much for including, our work that we're doing. And I will say, since I met you back in 2022, you've really been supportive of the work that I've done. You gave us an incredible platform. And I've always really, really been thankful to you for that. And all of the support that you give.
It's my pleasure to help out fellow nurses who actually care about patients, because I know I went into nursing for one thing, to help people. Like I like people. I mean, some people are annoying, of course, but I love patients. And we also take a Hippocratic oath when we become nurses. We do it for our patients. And it offends me and it angers me when a patient goes into the system and gets poor care, and when they're treated poorly and they're not respected and their wishes aren't respected. And we've all had experience with that personally in our lives. And it's infuriating. And the egos in the systems, the fact that healthcare workers are not keeping up with the latest trends, the fact that the pharmaceutical companies have captured the medical journals and they basically push their drugs on everyone. It's not even about getting your care. It's going in and getting whatever they want to put you on. It's never about actually looking at what the underlying cause is. It's about, hey, let's do all these labs and put you on these drugs and don't worry about the side effects. We'll get you better with this magical miracle drug. It's just
and never mind all of the side effects that will come from those drugs. And it's just like this vicious cycle. And that's what we've got to break in this country with healthcare. I will say we are running over our break. So I get so excited. I know you do as well. So we'll just keep on going. So, but we'll jump right back into this after the break. America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser, anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa, 24/7, Great Talk Radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcasts, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with chemical-free body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra-safe breakthrough nanosilver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. All of these products are proudly made in the USA and are backed by an unheard of double your money back guarantee. I've made a twice daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
In just 2 minutes per day, you can reclaim your health and vitality and cut your grocery bill in half with one simple, convenient product. Our doctor-formulated Green 85 juice formula's powerful dose of ultra-concentrated essential nutrients stops hunger in its tracks and supplies your cells with what's missing in the grocery store food. It's packed with wheatgrass, chlorella, dandelion, moringa, spirulina, broccoli sprouts, acai berry, beetroot, probiotics, enzymes, vitamins A, D, K, B12, just to name a few. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/outloud today. Get nature's super multivitamin Green 85, empower your immune system, cut down on your grocery bill, and save 20% on your first order.
I've got 2 questions for you. Have you been feeling off since COVID? Are you struggling with lingering symptoms? You're not alone. As Dr. Peter McCullough says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Introducing the wellness company's Spike Detox Trio. This powerful supplement combines nanokinase, bromelain, and turmeric to support your immune system and fight off harmful spike proteins. Nanokinase improves circulation, while bromelain boosts antiviral defenses, and turmeric reduces inflammation. It's not just another supplement. It's a scientifically backed solution to help you bounce back from COVID. Imagine waking up filled with energy, feeling clear-headed and vibrant again. It's possible with Spike Detox Trio. Reclaim your health now by visiting twc.health/outloud and use promo code OUTLOUD for 20% off your first order right now.
You wouldn't go a day without brushing your teeth or washing your hands. What about washing your nose? I mean, your nose does filter the air you breathe, air loaded with bacteria, viruses, and irritants. Make nasal hygiene part of your routine with Clear. No messy bottles to fill, no drowning sensation. Clear is a natural drug-free saline with the added benefit of xylitol, which blocks bacterial and viral adhesion. Available in stores and online at clear.com. That is XLEAR.com.
Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death and disability. Today's high-stress, on-the-go lifestyle makes it hard to stay heart healthy. Lifestyle changes like exercise and diet are critical, but you can also support your heart with concentrated nutrients. Healthy Cell created Heart and Vascular Health to support 3 aspects of heart health: cholesterol, blood pressure, and triglycerides, with CoQ10, vitamin K2, resveratrol, and soluble fiber. And Healthy Cell's not a pill. It's a patent-pending gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients. You would need to take 13 pills to get the same amount of nutrients in each gel pack. And these great-tasting gels come in a small packet. Tear off the top, shoot it down, or mix it in water. Get heart healthy. Go to healthycell.com and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. Healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD for 25% off.
Hi, I'm Dr. James Bragman, board-certified EO in internal and geriatric medicine. Do you or someone you know suffer from airborne allergies due to pollen, pet dander, and other particles, which aggravate and irritate the sensitive nasal passages? Are you tired of the side effects of common allergy products, such as drowsiness, feeling lethargic, and dry nose? Well, now there's Cofix RX. This revolutionary product stops airborne allergy symptoms, all while avoiding the side effects of the usual allergy remedies. Shake, spray, and cleanse away your allergy issues with Cofix RX. Click on the Cofix RX banner ad in the American Out Loud shop for 20% off your next order of Cofix RX.
When God, through His grace and mercy, gave us free will, the will of the people was to live freely. To that end, we fight for the liberty of all at a time when global tyranny threatens us as never before in mankind's history. This vision is manifest at AmericaOutloud.news, a site for all who cherish free will and freedom. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make AmericaOutloud.news your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. If you're just joining us, I have been talking with strategic business development and growth specialist, Kristina Morros. Kristina, thanks again for being here. Let's jump right back in.
Thanks for having me, Kimberly.
Oh, it's fantastic. I know we went a little bit over on the front end of the break because we were getting so excited and the passion comes out and it just will keep on. But we were talking about, what were we talking about? We were going off on a tangent there for a minute.
On a tangent about the healthcare system. I'm going to stop.
Yes, that will do it. That will do it. The poor care that you get in the sick care system. And unfortunately, that is something that we see every day. And there's hope on the horizon, though. It's so many more nurses than doctors, but that are waking up and realizing that there is a better way.
Yes. And it's important at this day and age for consumers to also know that that they can empower themselves by owning their own health and having a little discipline, doing their own research, and then just doing what they want to do, setting the intention for better health and manifesting their health. It's actually quite simple to become a healthier person. It's just a matter of committing to a different lifestyle. I don't like to say, I hate New Year's resolutions, and I don't like the word goals. I think goals it has like an endpoint. I think intentions are better because it literally programs the brain to set a new reality in motion so that you are living in a positive energy to create the new vision that you desire in your life. And it requires full on mind, body, and soul to basically manifest those changes. And I kind of want to talk about movement a little bit, Kimberly.
Yeah, let's talk about movement because it's so incredibly important in the detoxification process. Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
So I think it's really important for each individual to basically fall in love with some form of movement. There are so many forms of movement out there that there's something that fits everybody, whether it's a team sport or an individual sport, or maybe just doing yoga. I shouldn't say just doing yoga. Yoga to me is everything, but a lot of people view yoga as some granola, fruity, frou-frou, woo-woo thing. But we don't even have to call it yoga. We can call it stretching, whatever fits in with whatever communication strategy you need to make yourself move, then you can believe whatever you think it is. But personally speaking, I mean, this is just my own journey. Wherever you live, like utilizing whatever outdoor activity that drives your passion. For me, I'm lucky. I live at the beach, so I have water everywhere. So board sports are a huge part of my life because I just love the water so much. It's fun when you find people who also enjoy doing what you're doing, because you find like a sort of support system, like an informal support system, like almost like a club. I actually, during season, every Thursday night, I go to Niceville, Florida and participate in paddleboard races with my friends. And I'll tell you what, that's the best training there is in the world to get you ready for these other national, international events. And with that passion for stand-up paddleboarding, without really taking it too seriously, I went to the world championship in Sarasota this year and placed in the top 20.
Oh, wow.
All the events in my age group, I wasn't expecting that. I was just there to have a good time. Like, I didn't even research on the event or anything really. I just showed up and hung out with my friends, and
I'm not surprised. You are pretty badass, Kristina, and I am not surprised at all.
Well, thanks. But the point is, I think it's really important to find what movement drives you, because movement supports the mitochondria. It helps you with weight loss. It helps you with getting lean. It helps you with your metabolism. You become metabolically flexible when you really start building muscle, and you incorporate a regular routine into your life, whether it's daily or maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I'm kind of hardcore. I go to the gym or move 5 to 7 days a week, and my movement might be doing indoor activities at my fitness club, or skateboarding on the bike paths, or surfing or paddleboarding, or hiking. I've been doing that a lot lately with my friend Lorraine. We've been just taking advantage of all the Florida trails around where we live. It's literally like a 15-minute drive from where I live to get on the Florida Trail. And that's like, one of the better known trails in the trails system. And it's just fun to be out around the trees and the springs and the creeks and see bridges and hopefully animals, when you're out on your adventures. She brings her dogs. I mean, if you have a dog, great way to get out and move. Bring your dog out for a walk and go do something fun. I just can't stress how important it is to move. Even if you're in an office or you're working from home, it's super important to take movement breaks. I know that's harder when you have a hospital job. I know from experience. One of my favorite things I used to do when I was on call, I had this lovely colleague, and we would take breaks together and we'd go walk up and down the stairs. Like because we worked at this big teaching institution. There was 13 floors or something like that. And we would just, on our breaks, we would go walk up and down the stairs, like just making your own movement. Or if you can get out of the hospital, for instance, I keep using the hospital as an example from my own personal experience, but getting outside, if you can, walking to a local restaurant or grocery store. So you're getting your sunlight, you're getting your fresh air, you're getting your meal, and then you're, hopefully able to have time to sit and eat it, or, and you're also able to spend time with your colleagues, hopefully not on your phones the whole time either, because being on your cell
start
phone.
reducing screen time. I mean, come on, let's stop with all that. Because it is so easy to get on your device and then it's just, you think I'll just check my email, or I'll just, scroll my newsfeed for 2 minutes, and then it turns into 30 minutes, turns into an hour, turns into your entire day is gone, when you could have spent it doing these more productive and healthier activities. And, to your point, to get outside and move is fantastic, but then you get all of those other benefits, the benefits of sunlight, the benefits of the fresh air, and what that does for our mental health is huge.
Oh yeah. Neuroplasticity, 100%. That's another thing I can't emphasize enough. And that comes with, I haven't talked about mindfulness yet, but mindfulness, prayer, doing things that stimulate your brain, like painting, writing, singing, again, movement, being in nature, smelling smells in the forest, all of the breath work. Also, it is so important. And it's so easy to do. It just requires a little bit of commitment to basically carve out time in your day or a few times a week to do it. But those activities are so important for mental health, for reducing depression, for increasing your intuition, for increasing your connectivity with the greater purpose in life. And gosh, the whole thing with phones, we've become a very fragmented society socially. People don't know how to connect anymore or be genuine, or a lot of ghosting. I hate when people ghost. Just say you don't, want to talk anymore, or whatever. That's so typical of nowadays. We need to reestablish our connection with our surroundings and with other human beings, because I feel like the isolation is driving the depression and the control of bad health. So I want to emphasize how important neuroplasticity is. You can actually rebuild your brain cells by doing these activities. And who doesn't want to do that?
Exactly. I can't even, say enough about the benefits of doing all of that. And, because unfortunately with the depression and anxiety, the first thing, if you go to the doctor, the first thing that they're going to go to is they're going to reach for their prescription pad. And then we know there are so many negative side effects from these medications that can really alter people's lives permanently. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of these medications with long-term use can cause permanent disabilities and consequences that doctors are not informing patients of. So like I understand that sometimes medicine is indicated and it does have a place, but it should never be our go-to, our first line of defense. It should never be. It should always be, I think, a last resort.
For sure. And diet plays into that. And I know we were talking about vitamin D earlier, but vitamin D plays a role in your mental health. That people with low vitamin D have, you know, basically brain diseases and depression. Taking things like magnesium L-threonate helps with the brain, taking things like resveratrol. I have my favorite things that I do, fish oil too. I have to mention peptides here. I don't really want to go off on a tangent about peptides. But if people don't know about peptides, they're also just this really great sort of supplement that one can try. And we'll write a blog on that later to talk more about the health benefits of using those. And I don't want to go off on a tangent about this, but since we are talking about mental health, it's been like in the news lately. There's been a lot more openness on studies about using psychedelics for depression and mental health illnesses for post-traumatic stress and trauma. And I'm not saying that fits everybody, but it's something for the individual to consider, looking into, to maybe look at their options. Especially people who are in the military, that might be an option for them if they're suffering from PTSD, just looking at the information and getting informed about it and seeing what your options are.
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of different things that we can do, and it's not all just the prescription, the SSRIs, which we know have such incredibly negative consequences for people, and sometimes they are permanent. So I really implore people to explore other options before, and really like let's get to the root cause of, because a lot of times it is just kind of like a situational thing, or it's a seasonal thing, and it's just like some things that our diet and getting out in nature can really resolve, and prayer and meditation. All of those things.
Sure.
I know that when I focus on prayer, meditation, when I'm getting out and moving and I'm feeling more productive, I become more productive, and that helps with my overall feeling of well-being.
Yeah, and in part of that prayer, prayer in a sense is also setting an intention and manifesting a new reality. It's all basically the same thing, no matter what your beliefs are. And then I don't want to sound woo-woo here, but there's a lot to be said about energy and sound healing. And I used to get made fun of with my prior nonprofit that I work for, because it's just something that isn't really, there's not a lot of studies to support it, but there's enough evidence out there from personal anecdotes about going to singing in a group, or going to a sound meditation, or going to hear live music of some sort, how frequencies and vibrations can help with neuroplasticity.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I really feel like we're all energy. And I mean, I did a lot of that kind of sound therapy and different things when I went to Colombia, and I went on that wellness retreat over at Mountains of Hope in Colombia last November. And it was, it was a new experience for me, but it was incredible. And I mean, I left there feeling just completely revitalized and just ready to take on the world. So I think things like this do make a difference, and it's really important to find what works for you as an individual. And I feel like it's definitely not in a pharmaceutical where you're going to find this type of relief and well-being.
Yeah, I agree. I think like we've been saying, getting to the root cause of what your imbalance is, and then fixing that first, and then focusing on hydration and diet. And then if you're not getting what you need through normal things, then maybe you need supplements, and definitely movement. Everyone needs to move. And I also want to say that some people with chronic illness, they get really, they can't do really active, high intensity training, but that doesn't mean they can't move. There's going to be a movement that fits everybody. And just for people with chronic disease, they need to know what their boundaries are and what makes them feel good and what doesn't make them feel good, and kind of, exploring those boundaries a bit and seeing if they can help increase their resistance. But not everyone should go out and do, you know, like running or I don't know, Ironmans or whatever, very intense things. That doesn't fit every single person.
Right. But simple, small changes, that's what we need to do, whatever that means for you. Simple, small changes every day, and setting that intention is where it all begins. We are running out of time, but I do, in the last couple of minutes that we have, I just want to make sure that we are telling the listeners how they can find you. I will, of course, include links to all of your steps, your Substack, and everything will be included in our show notes that will accompany this episode when it goes to podcast. But just for the listeners that are out there, where can they get a hold of you?
So the best way to reach us is our Substack, gethealthyorgetdead.substack.com. And they can send us a message through that platform. We are going to be releasing this week. We're going to be doing consultations for people's refrigerators. I know that sounds really weird, but it's like an affordable coaching situation where we can actually get down to the fundamentals of what someone is consuming and offer them like counseling support and coaching on how to improve their nutrition.
I absolutely love that. I probably will hit you up for that myself. Well, like, let's go through Kimberly's refrigerator and see what we can get rid of here and what we can replace it with. I actually really love that concept. Kristina Morros, thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure to talk with you. You are just an inspiration to me personally, and you've been a great support. So I'm just so grateful for you and to have you in my life. And now that I get to share you with my listeners.
Oh, the feeling is mutual, Kimberly.
Thank you so much. And I will definitely have you back on, and we can get passionate about all of this all over again, and many, many other topics.
We got to talk about sleep. I forgot to talk about that. We can talk about the next episode.
Absolutely. Just even more reason to have you back on. Sleep on the next episode with Kristina Morros. That is all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, with a different nurse host daily. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and these courageous nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you, because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. You can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember, we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our lights and expose the darkness.
It's time